Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenya. Today it's been laid on my heart, and I believe it's been laid on my heart by God to share my testimony. So I'm going to give you a little background history about me. I grew up in a home with my mom and my dad. I had 6 siblings. It was 6 siblings altogether, and I'm the oldest of 6. We lived in a home that was not what you would call religious, but my dad taught me about God, and he loved God and everything. And my mom, she really wasn't your quote-unquote Christian. She believed in God, and that was really it. In our home, we suffered with a lot of lack, and my dad and mom always had fights going on. It was a very, very abusive relationship. We used to see them fight all the time. And sometimes it gotten so bad that we would have to leave the home. We were in or out of shelters all the time. We would be months away from home. And then my mom would come back. And when she would come back, it would make me feel very upset, very angry. Because at this time, I was like 14, 15 years old. And I knew it wasn't right. My mom always told us things about my dad, and we used to watch her cry a lot. And I used to be for her leaving my dad. I used to want her to leave my dad because I was tired of living like that or whatever. But my mom, she would always go back. So when she would go back to my dad, it would make me hate her, and it would make me hate my dad. So one particular time, we left my dad because my dad fought my mom. And he fought her real bad this time. And we went into a shelter. It would be times where we would be outside the shelter, because the shelter works like this here in Michigan. You would have to be there at a certain time. It was a curfew, and you would have to get up and you would have to leave and find something to do until it was time to come back. So it would be times where it's like 98, 100 degrees, and we didn't have anywhere to go because my mom only has one sister and one brother, and all the rest of our family is in Memphis, Tennessee. So we would just walk around sometimes, or we would sit at a church, like the porch of a church, and just sit there and just wait. So I started getting, resentment towards her, because I was thinking to myself, like, wow, this is horrible. Shame, shame on her for putting her children through this. But I was young and I was ignorant. I didn't know anything. But this is how I was thinking as a child. We ended up going back this time. And I told my mom, I cried to her one day. I said, you know what, Mom? I don't want to live here anymore. Okay? I don't. I said, I'd rather go live with my aunt, because this is just too much for me. So she let me move in with my aunt, and I stayed there for like about a week. And when I stayed there for about a week, sure enough, she came at the end of the week and was like, we got into a fight again. And she like, you coming with me? So lo and behold, I had to go with her again. And we went to another shelter. This particular time, we didn't go back. So My mom was in the shelter, and we were there for months, I believe. And then her car ended up getting stolen. Wait, let me bring it back. We were there with my mom, I believe this is the winter time. And she didn't have anybody to watch us because my dad used to be a stay-at-home dad. He would watch us during the day while she went to work. One particular time, well, a couple of particular times, we were waiting for my mom to get off work. And what I mean by waiting, we were waiting in the car. So we were waiting in the car her whole 8-hour shift until she got off work. Somebody at her job, I guess they ended up finding out that we was in the car. They volunteered to let us come to her house, to their house, to live with them until we figured things out. So we did. So once we moved over there with them, so happened my mom's car got stolen. So my mom's car got stolen. She asked my aunt, which is on her side, because the other aunt that I stayed with was on my dad's side. She asked her aunt, my aunt on her side, if we could stay there. And she said, yeah, I can't take all 6, but I can take 3. So I volunteered, and I said, I'll go. So I went, and my sister and my brother went. And my other sisters and brothers stayed with my mom and dad. I mean, with my mom for the time being. So I stayed there for a couple of months. And while I was there, my aunt kept asking me little stuff here and there, like, what's going on at the house? And I would tell her little stuff here and there. But as time went by, I got more comfortable. And because she's my aunt in a relationship that we had, because I was close to her ever since I was a little girl, I started telling her more and more stuff. And my mom and my aunt's relationship was horrible towards each other. They didn't like each other. It was obvious to see that they didn't really care for each other, but my mom was just stuck and she didn't have anywhere else for us to go. So she decided, that was her only choice. So my aunt got me to tell her some information. So my aunt devised a plan. She said, you don't have to go back home. How about this? You play like you ran away. Go to a precinct. Tell them that you don't want to be at home no more, and I'll let you come stay with me. So I agreed. So after that, next thing I know, she comes in the room and she has a phone and she hands me the phone. She said, tell them you don't want to stay there no more. So I get on the phone and it's a police officer and she's like, tell them you don't want to stay there no more. So I told him, now I'm scared. I'm put on the spot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 14. I tell him I didn't want to stay there, whatever. And, it is what it is. Next thing I know, we getting drove to the police station. Me and my sister and my brother. We get to the police station. And I'm thinking like, okay, what's going on? Because this is not the plan that we initially had or whatever. But next thing I know, they have a car getting ready. And the car was for me. So they asked me to get in the car and I drove off. Not knowing where I'm going, whatever. I'm just like in the car, scared, in a police car. And I ended up finding out that we were going to a new foster home. So I ended up going to a place that I didn't know. I'm thinking I'm going to stay with my aunt and I'm get dropped off to a family. So all of this in a matter of a day. Everything just started changing. So we pulled up in front of this house. I'm looking at my notes. We pulled up in front of this big old pretty house. Beautiful house. Never lived anywhere like that. Never lived in a suburban area. So I was impressed with the house. Okay. So when I first walk in the house, there's a bunch of people waiting. And I'm like, okay. And people just looking at me and everything. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what's going on? And they're like, this is your family. My worker was there. It's kind of like a counselor, if you don't know what that is. But she was there. And she was introducing me. Because she really didn't know me. She was introducing me and she was introducing me to this new family. And the new family was introducing themselves to me. So, in this family, it was a pastor and the pastor's wife, and it was some children there, and it was 6 kids there. And it wasn't supposed to be like that. It was supposed to only be 3 other children there, but the foster mother had 3 grandkids that lived with her too. And so we all introduced ourselves or whatever, and I'm very scared, very nervous. I don't know anything. Okay, so after we do all of that, we talked for a little bit. They asked me about myself. They showed me my room. My room was nice or whatever. It was way better than what I came from. So I got myself acquainted with my roommate. I'm not gonna say anybody's name. So anyway, I got myself acquainted with my roommate, and she was cool as far as I knew at that time. So later on, as time passed, I'm still getting familiar with the house and everything. I started realizing that it was a rivalry going on. It was the grandkids versus the foster kids. The grandkids always stayed in trouble. They always did things they were not supposed to do. They were bad, whatever you want to call it. And here's the foster kids. The foster kids always went to school, got good grades, we were polite, we had manners, and we just kept bumping head. It was fights all the time against them and us. It was crazy. Like the real got real quick. And not only that, like this lady had 2 adult men living there too. Both of them were her sons, but one of her sons was an alcoholic, and the other son was on drugs. And she would let them stay there with her when they had nowhere else to go. But of course, that was her, her children. So of course, she would let them come back. But it was definitely inappropriate living. My foster father was cool. He was a pastor. He was very nice. He always taught us about God, and he kept us focused on learning the word. So we would have Bible study there. He would teach us the books of the Bible. Like we knew all the books of the Bible. We knew it in order. And we just had church at home, and it was cool because that was something that I was interested in. I would read the Bible back then, but of course I didn't understand what I was reading, but I was reading the Bible. And I was good with that. That was cool for me because that's something that's my passion. I was very interested in learning about the Lord. I've always been that way since a kid. I always looked at my Bible, my children's Bibles. I always tried to learn the stories, and I knew a lot at the age of 14, but it wasn't the real version. It was just a watered down version from the children Bibles. So anyway, as time went on, we kept, bumping heads with everybody. We'd bump heads with the two guys there. It was rough. It was horrible because the grandkids would bully us, but they would really bully me because, for one, I was the last one to come into the house. I was quiet. I stayed to myself. And like I said, I used to read the Bible. So they would go outside and get into all types of mischief. And I stay outside and I stay in my room and I read the Bible. So they just thought I was weird. They like, okay, she weird. We don't know what's going on with her. They thought I was weird because I used to take 2 showers a day. They just always had something to say about me. So the guy that the grandson that was there, he was a little older than me. He started liking me, and he used to mess with me all the time. He would come in my room all the time, sit on my bed, because I gotta think about that. Don't sit on my bed. Don't do that. That you sit on my bed, we're gonna problem. Do not sit on my bed. So he would come in there, he would sit on my bed, whatever. We used to have this back and forth ridiculousness that was going on. I hated him. I literally hated him. He was like a brother, but the brother turned into something else. So after like one summer, we got real close, whatever, and we started both liking each other. And liking each other became inappropriate. Let me just say it like that. And the family started noticing it because they would be like, why is he always taking up for her? Because every time they would mess with me, he would always take up for me. So they knew something, but they didn't know everything or whatever. So, yeah, that's how that went for that part. So anyway, he became my boyfriend. And we were boyfriend and girlfriend for a while. And then later on down the line, I started noticing some weird things. Now, my foster sisters that were younger than me, so I had a foster sister, we're the same age. I'm a couple months older than her. She's my roommate. Then it was 2 other girls in the house that were foster children. They was like maybe 12 and 7. I think 12 and 7, around that. I wouldn't know this little stuff. I would notice that everybody would be downstairs, but he would be upstairs with this little girl, the 7-year-old. And I used to be like, why are you always upstairs? Which one? And when I would say something, my foster sister that was my roommate, she would make little sneak remarks and be like, like that. And I used to be wondering, I'm like, what's going on? Like, they ain't really saying nothing to me. So anyway, that went on for a while, and I knew it just rubbed me the wrong way because I always had this like intuition type thing where I would know stuff before it happened. How I would know things like you ain't even, if I meet you, you don't even have to tell me nothing because I know everything. I know everything about you even before you even spoke. I knew it. So I just always felt like something is not right. So anyway, months went by, and a new girl ended up moving in on top of all this that's going on in this house. This fighting and all this foolishness. Another girl moved in, and she was a Caucasian young lady, but she acted black. And then another girl moved in too. So yeah, we had 2 more people move in the house. It was this Caucasian young lady, and she acting black, she loud, she all of this. Now we black, but we ain't black. If you know, we not acting ghetto. But this Caucasian girl was what you consider with it, basically, because I'm not trying to offend anyone. But anyway, and then this other young girl came in. So one day, because we got a big house now, and it's crowded with kids. So sometimes, because I'm I like to be lonely. I'm a loner, I meant to say. One particular time, I decided that I wanted to get away because they get noisy. And I'm the type of person, if you bully me or something like that, I ain't got time. I'll go in my room. I don't gotta be around you, because I'm not with, you know, allowing people to walk all over me. So I'm gonna go to my room. So one time I went upstairs. I was going upstairs to my room. Now the way my house was when you walked up the stairs, we had this big old bathroom, and it was this big mirror on the back of the wall. So say for instance, if I'm going up the stairs this way, right? You can see this mirror, and you can see the reflection in the bathroom. So I'm going up the stairs, and as I'm going up the stairs, I see the young lady, the 7-year-old. Then I kind of see like somebody like bent over down, like by the toilet, like trying to hide. And then I see the little girl pulling up her pants. So I'm like, what is this? So I walk past slowly because I'm still trying to see. And I saw it was the grandson. So I'm like it took a minute to dawn on me what was really going on. I'm like, what? I'm still young. I'm still naive. But I ain't stupid. So I was upset like that. Oh man, that crushed my heart. Everything. It was just not right. So I ended up telling my foster sister what I thought. My foster sister said, yeah, this been going on for years. You finally seen this? And I'm like, well, you ain't told nobody. And she like, we did tell. We told our foster parents. They don't do nothing about it. They just let him do what he want to do. And I'm like, that ain't how that's supposed to go. So anyway, I ended up telling the new girl, the Caucasian lady that came in, I'm sorry. And I guess she started seeing stuff on her own too. So one day she gets mad. She like, this ain't supposed to be happening. She's irate. She's like, I'm telling it all. I'm telling everything. So we all, me, her, and the younger girl decided that we were gonna go to our meeting place, because every week we would meet up, and we would discuss stuff with our parents. So I'm able to see my parents at this particular time and talk to my parents, because you know they still let you have visits with your parents or whatever. So I'm talking to them and whatever. So she decided she was gonna tell, but she didn't tell at that time. I guess she got scared or whatever. So she didn't tell, but we also kept discussing amongst the foster children, and there's 5 of us at this time. We started discussing, you know, everything that was happening in the house and how this ain't right. First of all, there supposed to be no 2 older men up in here. One, he's pissy drunk. He come, like they locking him in the basement, because every time he look up, he running out. And I'm talking about running out the house to go get the alcohol. Then we got the other guy that's addicted to crack. He's downstairs. He's doing all of this stuff. It's just a crazy house. And now we got this molester in the house. So we like, okay, we don't tell. So all of that happened. My mom was supposed to get me back because my mom, she wasn't unfit. It was just that some things had happened and it was out of her control, and she literally didn't have any help. She literally didn't have any resources to take care of us the way she was supposed to. So she got the help that she needed in the year and passed and everything or whatever. So me and my mom talking again, and I'm getting myself prepared to go home on my weekly visits, which is every Wednesday. One particular week, I can remember it like it was yesterday. It's just a little distant memory. She asked me to bring her this leather jacket because me and her was the same size, and I would wear her stuff sometimes. So, you know, she was like, bring my jacket back, and she said, bring me a picture of you. So the next week came, and it was Wednesday, and I'm getting ready to go see my mom. So when I get up and get ready, my foster mom comes downstairs and she like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm getting ready to see my mom. And she like, what do you got in your hand? I'm like, I got my mom's picture. And she was like, I got a picture from my mom. And she like, well, why? And I was like, because she asked me to bring it to her. Like that, you know, like, what you helping my mix for? And I got this jacket too because I'm supposed to give her back her jacket. She asked me to. She said, no, I don't think you need to do that today. And I'm like, why? And she like, I just don't. And I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know something was wrong. So my counselor came and picked me up, which is kind of normal. Well, it's odd because normally the foster parents will drop you off. So my my counselor pulls up, which is my worker. She pulls up and she's waiting for me outside. And I get outside in the car and she's like, your mom is in the hospital. I'm like, what? I'm like, is it the baby? Because I think I know. My mom told me she thought she was pregnant at this time with my dad's baby. So I'm like, is it the baby? She's like, no. I say, is it bad? And she's like, yes. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to collect my thoughts, and I'm like, what possibly could have happened? So from that point, we went to the hospital. And when we went to the hospital, all my family was there, which is not that much. My dad was there. My aunt and my uncle was there. And the kids wasn't there yet. It was just us. So I'm like, what's going on? And they like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Your mom, it doesn't seem like she's gonna make it. So I immediately asked the question, what about the kids? Like that. Because I care about my kids. I'm the oldest. I always try to take care of my sisters and brothers. That's what I was supposed to do. That was my job. And that's what I did. I took care of them until I couldn't take care of them more. So anyway, they said she's not gonna make it. So I'm crying, I'm going crazy. Like, what, what? That is hard to take all this information. And your child, for one, nobody's really being direct with you. Nobody's telling you anything. You don't know what's going on, period. So I'm like, okay, can I see her? So anyway, I go in the room and I see my mom. My mom is swollen so bad, like ridiculously swollen. Like she didn't even look like herself. She has this big, like, part cut out of her hair in the front. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, my mom will wake up, because I'm still not really getting it. My mom wake up, she gonna be mad because you got her hair. My mom had long, beautiful, pretty hair. I'm like, she gonna be pissed off y'all to cut her hair. So anyway, we ended up getting called, and I see my aunt, she's going hysterical. She's losing her mind, and my dad is, well, no, my dad didn't get there. So anyway, we all in the room. And the doctor comes in, and the doctor says, she's not gonna make it. We need to pull the plug because she's just breathing. The machine is breathing for her at this point. So I get there. You mean to tell me I find out my mom was sick, mom in the hospital. Next thing I know, they pulling the plug. What? All of that in a matter of a day. So my aunt says, pull the plug. Don't let her suffer. Here comes my dad. My dad busts in the hospital and he is crying. He going crazy. He touching on my mama. He praying over her. He on his knees like, please don't leave me and all this stuff. And I'm literally like just watching everything. Then my sisters and brothers come and they crying. They don't know, they don't know what's going on. And we all just like out of it, really. And sure enough, they put a plug and she passed. So yeah, we were getting prepared to go home, and then she passed. So I ended up staying with my aunt for I think like a couple of days, maybe a week. And we went through the funeral and all of that stuff. Then we all went back. So when I went back, I think, at that time, my aunt told me, she said, I didn't get you because your mom said she wanted you back. She didn't want you to stay with me. This is what my aunt said. She didn't want you to stay with me. She said, but now since things changed, I want you to stay with me. I want you to live with me. I said, okay. I said, I want to come live with you. So she said, okay. She said, you just got to go back for a little bit longer and let me do the classes. I guess she had to take classes or whatever to get me. So she was like, okay, so I'm going to do all the classes. I'm going to get you home because I want all of us to be together. So I ended up going back into the home. Like I said, all this crazy stuff going on. And when I went back, things just kept triggering. Things just kept getting crazy. It got worse and worse and worse. And I'm having these premonitions that somebody is going to die. I'm feeling it at that house. I felt it when I first walked in the door the first day. But then, I was just feeling stuff. Like I said, I have this thing and I know it's a gift. So I think maybe 3 to 6 months later, my foster father died. And that morning, I can remember this so clear as day. That morning, he came downstairs. He was so happy. Like, I talked to God today. Yes, I talked to God today. He was smiling. He looked like his countenance. He was so happy. He was just smiling. And the next thing I know, I'm in the living room. So in the living room, it was open. You can see the kitchen. And I see him over the kitchen, and he's like doing something with his head like this. And then next thing I know, he's about to pass. And I'm like, something ain't right now. So I think I called my foster mother, or she was on her way coming in, and she was yelling at him like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And they looked like he was about to pass out. So they called the ambulance, and I saw him get in the ambulance, and I looked in his eyes right before he walked out, and I said, he ain't coming back. And sure enough, he didn't come back. He died too. So I'm dealing with all of that. Literally, one step, one domino effect. So I ended up still being close to the quartet. I ended up still being close to my so-called boyfriend, whatever. And I just one day asked him, I said, I saw you in the mirror one day when I was walking up the stairs, and I saw Geneva pulling up her clothes. And I just wanted to know what's going on with that. And he was like, well, I have a problem. He admitted it to me. I have a problem. I have a problem. I was like, well, you need to get help. He's like, I know I need help. I need to get help. So he actually admitted to me that he did this. So I kind of stayed locked up. So I kind of stayed locked to myself. Mm-hmm. Where your diaper at?